Most people will never admit this out loud. But somewhere, deep down, you already know you're not like everybody else. You don't party every weekend. You don't spend money to impress people who don't care about you. You think differently. You sit with questions that most people run away from. And sometimes, honestly, it feels lonely. But here's what nobody tells you: that discomfort you feel, that quiet distance between you and the crowd, that's not a flaw. That's a signal. There's a specific kind of person who builds real things. Real wealth. Real freedom. Real peace of mind. And they don't announce it. They don't post about it. They just live it. Quietly. Consistently. And today I want to talk about 5 things that separate that person from everyone else. Not because I want to flatter you, but because if you recognize yourself in this, you need to know what that actually means for your future. So stay with me. Here's something most people don't want to hear. The average 25-year-old in the US is spending more than they earn. Not because they're stupid. Not because they don't know better. But because the entire world around them is designed, engineered, actually, to make waiting feel unbearable. Every app. Every notification. Every one-click purchase. Every buy now, pay later. The system is built to collapse the space between wanting something and having it. And it works. On most people. But not on you. You felt that pull. You know what it's like to want something right now. You're not immune to desire. But somewhere along the way, maybe from watching someone you loved struggle, maybe from a moment where you felt the weight of a bad decision, you learned something most people never do. You learn that the thing you want today is almost never worth the thing you could build tomorrow. That's not discipline. Not really. Discipline sounds like punishment. What you have is closer to vision. You can see further than the moment you're in. And that changes everything. Most wealth isn't built in a single dramatic move. It's built in the quiet moments where you chose to wait. Where you said no to something small so something bigger could grow. That's not normal behavior. Not anymore. Not in a world that sells you comfort at every corner. But you already know that. You've been doing it. Maybe without even realizing it had a name. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room full of people, laughing, drinking, scrolling, and felt this quiet, almost invisible anxiety? Not because you don't like people. Not because you're antisocial. But because somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this voice that just can't let go. A voice that says, this time could be used for something. Most people silence that voice. They call it overthinking. They call it being too serious. They pour another drink and scroll a little longer and tell themselves they deserve to rest. And maybe they do. Rest is real. Rest is necessary. But what you feel isn't an inability to rest. It's something different. It's an almost physical discomfort when time moves without purpose. When hours disappear and nothing was built, learned, or moved forward. That feeling? That low hum of unease? It's not anxiety. It's awareness. There's a study that's floated around for years in behavioral economics circles, the idea that high performers don't actually work more hours than average people. What separates them is how they relate to their hours. They feel the weight of time differently. Every hour has texture. Every day has direction. You probably don't need a study to confirm that. You already live it. And yes, sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes you wish you could just switch it off and be okay with doing nothing. But that tension you carry, that restlessness, it's not a burden. It's the engine. The thing that keeps you moving when everyone else has settled. Don't kill it. Learn to work with it. Most people treat money like a weather forecast. Something that happens to them. Something that arrives or disappears based on luck, or timing, or who their parents were. They check their bank balance the same way they check the sky, hoping for sun, bracing for rain, but never really believing they have any control over it. You don't do that. At some point, maybe early, maybe after a painful lesson, you started paying attention differently. You read things other people your age weren't reading. You asked questions in rooms where nobody else was asking. You started seeing patterns. The way compound interest quietly multiplies in the background. The way taxes work not just as a cost but as a system with rules you can actually learn. The way most people spend their entire lives working for money while a smaller group makes money work for them. That shift in perspective, that moment when money stopped being an emotion and started being a language, that's not something school teaches. Nobody sat you down and explained it. You went looking for it yourself. And that matters more than people realize. Because here's the truth about financial literacy that nobody wants to admit: it's not complicated. The concepts aren't hard. What's hard is caring enough to learn them when everyone around you is busy spending. What's hard is sitting with a book about index funds on a Friday night when your friends are out. What's hard is playing a long game in a short game world. But you do it. Quietly. Consistently. And every month that passes, the distance between you and the average grows a little wider. Not because you're lucky. Because you chose to understand something most people are afraid to look at directly. There's a conversation nobody wants to have. About the people in your life. About who stays and who goes. About the quiet, uncomfortable process of realizing that some relationships, no matter how long they've lasted, no matter how much history you share, are pulling you in the wrong direction. This one is personal. I know it is. Because it's easy to talk about budgets. It's easy to talk about investing in delayed gratification. Those are ideas. But people are different. People have faces. People have birthdays and memories and years of shared experience. And when you start to grow, really grow, some of those people don't grow with you. And that gap becomes impossible to ignore. Maybe you've already felt it. A dinner where the conversation never went deeper than complaints. A friend who mocks every serious decision you make. A family member who calls your ambition arrogance. People who aren't bad, necessarily. But people who are comfortable exactly where they are. And comfort, at a certain level, becomes contagious. Research in behavioral psychology has shown for decades that we mirror the people closest to us. Not just their habits. Their beliefs about what's possible. Their ceiling becomes our ceiling, if we let it. The people who build real financial independence aren't just disciplined with money. They're disciplined with energy. They understand that who you spend time with is just as important as how you spend your dollars. Maybe more important. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It doesn't mean becoming cold or calculated. It means being honest. With yourself, first. About who fills your tank and who drains it. About which relationships push you forward and which ones quietly keep you small. That discernment, that quiet, firm boundary you've started drawing, that's not selfish. That's survival. That's clarity. And not everyone has the courage to do it. This one is the hardest to explain. But I think you'll recognize it immediately. There's a moment that comes for everyone who's trying to build something real. A moment where you've done everything right, you've saved, you've learned, you've made the hard calls, you've protected your time and your circle, and you still don't know if it's going to work. The path ahead isn't clear. The results aren't showing yet. And the silence of that uncertainty is deafening. Most people can't sit in that silence. It scares them into action, not productive action, but reactive action. They make impulsive decisions just to feel like something is moving. They abandon long-term plans for short-term relief. They blow up years of quiet progress in a single moment of panic because the waiting became unbearable. You've been tempted to do the same. I know you have. Because that uncertainty isn't comfortable for anyone. It's not supposed to be. But here's what separates you. You've learned, maybe the hard way, that clarity doesn't always come before the move. Sometimes you have to keep walking in the fog and trust that the ground is still there beneath your feet. That's not blind faith. That's experience. That's the result of doing hard things before and surviving them. Of being wrong and recovering. Of losing something and rebuilding. The financial world specifically rewards this quality above almost everything else. Markets fall. Opportunities disappear. Plans collapse. The people who come out the other side aren't the ones who knew exactly what was coming. They're the ones who stayed calm enough to keep thinking when everything felt chaotic. That capacity to hold uncertainty without breaking is rare. Genuinely rare. And you carry it. Most people need certainty before they move. You've learned to move anyway. Before I keep going, and I promise, the most important part of this conversation is still coming, I want to say something directly. If you've made it this far with me, you're not here by accident. You didn't stumble onto this video and zone out after 2 minutes. You stayed. You listened. And that alone tells me something about who you are. So I want to invite you to something simple. Hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow. And the day after. Because what we're building here, this conversation, this community, it's for exactly the kind of person you are. Someone who takes this seriously. Someone who wants more than motivation. Someone who wants truth. And look, I know people like you don't follow channels just to feel good. You follow because something resonates. Because something here reflects what you already carry inside. So if this video did that for you, bring someone else into the conversation. Share it with one person who needs to hear this today. Now, back to where we were. Because here's what I haven't said yet, and it's the thing that ties all 5 of these together into something you actually need to understand about yourself. These 5 things aren't achievements. They're not a checklist you complete and move on from. They're a foundation. And a foundation only matters if you build something on top of it. The people who have all 5 of these qualities and still end up stuck, still end up frustrated, still end up watching others pass them, they're missing one final piece. Something quieter than all of this. Something most people overlook entirely. And that's what we're going to close with. Here it is. The thing nobody talks about. You can delay gratification. You can protect your time, your circle, your energy. You can study money like a language and sit with uncertainty without falling apart. You can have all 5 of these things, genuinely have them, and still self-sabotage. Still shrink at the moment it counts. Still find a way to stay exactly where you are. Because the real enemy was never ignorance. It was never bad habits or the wrong friends or a broken system. Those things are real. But they're not the final wall. The final wall is identity. What you believe, deep down, beneath the goals and the plans and the discipline, about whether you actually deserve what you're building. Whether someone like you, from where you came from, with the history you carry, is allowed to have a different life. That's the conversation most financial content never has. Because it's uncomfortable. Because it's not about numbers. Because it requires you to look at something much harder than a budget spreadsheet. But the people who break through really break through, they do this work too. They question the story they inherited about money, about success, about what's possible for them specifically. And slowly, quietly, they rewrite it. Not with affirmations. Not with vision boards. With action. With evidence. With every small decision that proves to themselves that they are, in fact, someone who does things differently. You've already started. The fact that you're here, watching this, thinking about this, taking this seriously, that's not nothing. That's the beginning of a different story. And I'll leave you with this. There's a line that has stayed with me for a long time. It comes from a place older and wiser than any financial book ever written. Proverbs 13 verse 11 says, "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." Little by little. That's the whole game. Not one dramatic move. Not one viral moment. Not luck. Little by little, with clarity, with patience, with the 5 things we talked about today, and with an honest look at who you believe yourself to be. That's it. That's the work. Now, if this conversation meant something to you, hit that subscribe button and bring 5 people here who need to hear this. 5. Not 1. 5. Because the right message at the right moment can change the direction of someone's entire life. And you might be the reason that happens for someone you care about. And before you go, drop a comment below. Tell me honestly, which of these 5 things is hardest for you right now? And tell me what you want us to talk about next. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.